On the day I married Jessica Miller, she slept with another man in our marital bed. I chose to be understanding. She thoroughly enjoyed herself. And so, for 3 years, we lived with a silent, mutual agreement. The 3 years passed, my system task completed, and I walked away without looking back. But Jessica cried, "Do you really not love me? Then what were these 3 years for?" I laughed. What were they for? For proving how much I could endure. Everyone around me said I was Jessica's pathetic simp, that a simp would end up with nothing. But I wasn't just any simp. I was a lucky one. I got what I wanted. I married Jessica. Even if on our wedding day, she was still flirting with her boy toy. Even if she showed up late to the ceremony. Even if she postponed the banquet to make time for him. Even if she slept with another man in our wedding bed. This wasn't the first time I'd caught her cheating. I glanced at the man lying next to her, pale, nervous eyes, barely undressed, face covered in kiss marks. I calmly picked up a pillow from the floor and said to Jessica, "I bought groceries. If you've got nothing going on later, we can eat at home." Jessica stretched lazily, wired some money to her boy toy, and sent him on his way. "I want tomato and egg stir-fry," she said, walking over to hug me from behind like a spoiled child. "Feed me? I never really got it." 2 people in bed, still fully clothed. What were they doing? Just chatting? But I didn't care enough to figure out her and her boy toy's kinks. 'Cause, honestly, I didn't care at all. It wasn't that I loved her so much. I let her share herself with other men. That'd be idiotic. I just genuinely believed that whatever Jessica did had nothing to do with me. To me, she was nothing. Over dinner, Jessica said, "Jason's sick. I'm going to see him. Won't be able to spend your birthday with you this weekend." Jason had grown up as Jessica's neighbor, childhood friends. Those other guys Jessica brought around were just for fun. But with Jason, it was different. She was serious. Jason had always been sickly, often bedridden for days. Jessica would stay by his side, calling herself his big sister, swearing to protect him. But when they got older, she wouldn't let him call her Big Sis Jessica anymore. She teased him, saying it made her sound old. Jason would laugh sheepishly, patting her head, joking that she was his little sister now. People envied how close they were. It always felt like I was the wrong guy married to her. Jason should have been the one. "You're not coming back tonight either?" I asked. Jessica paused, then shook her head. "Probably not." "Okay," I said. "Be safe on the road." Jessica frowned at that. "So generous of you." For the first time, she seemed annoyed. Usually, she was breezy, always in control. But now she was strangely irritable, clearly dissatisfied with my response. I prided myself on being the perfect husband. I loved her, forgave her, gave her everything. I had nothing to feel guilty about. But I had my own agenda. I played the simp because I was bound to a system. If I didn't simp, I'd die. 3 years, I just had to keep it up for 3 years. Then I'd be free. And today was the last day of year 2. Looking at Jessica's slightly annoyed face, I felt relief creeping in. I was almost there. I actually laughed. I quickly said, "Isn't it good to be generous? Don't you like that? If you think I haven't been generous enough, I can do better. Want me to be so generous that I give you a divorce? Let you and Jason be together? Would that do?" The spoon I held out to Jessica got slapped to the ground. She suddenly exploded. "Luke, what the hell's wrong with you?" I was confused. Quietly, I picked up the spoon. "You in a bad mood today? Did something happen?" Jessica gave me a suspicious look. "If you're mad at me, Luke, just say it." "If you're upset because I can't spend your birthday with you, I can throw you a special one next week." "But this sudden attitude of yours, it's not funny at all." "My attitude? What attitude?" It had been over 2 years, and Jessica had never snapped at me before. She'd always been satisfied with my tolerance. But today, it was like she was on something. I'd already been nothing but tolerant. What more did she want? Still, I had to endure. I had to. Just one more day. I wasn't going to let 2 years of work go to waste over this. I stepped toward her, gently kissed her forehead, and pulled her into my arms. "I just want you to be happy. Even if I'm just your backup. Go spend the weekend with Jason. I won't argue. Don't worry." But Jessica wasn't having it. She pushed me away and scoffed. 2 years, Luke. You haven't changed one bit." Then she stormed out, probably off to Jason for comfort. I couldn't have asked for more. The next day was my birthday. Jessica was likely still at Jason's. I'd made it through the full 3 years. The system pinged, task complete. I could now live. It even gave me some rewards. Jessica had never spent a single birthday with me. The first year, she claimed she was swamped at work. I still had hope then. Maybe she really was just busy. I figured, we're married. I'll go visit her at the office. I opened her office door and saw her assistant on top of her clothes a mess. The second year, she said she was exhausted and needed to unwind. That night, she hit the karaoke bars with a whole group of boy toys. Never came home. At 2 a.m., she called me to pick her up. On the way home, she kept asking, "Luke, I go drinking and singing with other guys. Aren't you jealous?" I said, "You married me. That's enough." Jessica pouted. "You're way too generous, Luke. You know that?" I gave her a side glance, didn't say anything. Then she said, "But I guess that's good. I sleep with other guys, but I still have you in my heart. Luke, you have to like me forever." And then she passed out, snoring. And now, the third birthday today. She blew up at me yesterday over Jason's illness, then ghosted me completely, blocked my number. So what now? I had something important to tell her. But forget it. This year, I'm giving myself a proper birthday gift. A divorce. I still remember Jason's address. Jessica once dragged me there when Jason had a fever. Said she wanted to keep him company and figured she'd bring me along. I hadn't wanted to go, but I couldn't say no to her, so I tagged along. Jason clearly didn't like me. I tried to be gracious, showing concern, making polite small talk, but he barely responded. Fine by me, no use being warm to someone who's ice cold. I went out to the balcony for a smoke. Not long after, Jessica stormed out, scolding me. "Why are you slacking off out here? Jason's got a fever. Could you at least be thoughtful enough to get him a bowl of water to wipe down with? Or a glass of water, maybe?" I thought, he's your man. Why should I be the one taking care of him? But I kept that to myself. I put out the cigarette and smiled. Got it. I'll do it right away. Jessica frowned, then glared at me. If anything happens to him, I'll hold you responsible. I made him porridge, wiped him down, did the housework, ran around until midnight. Jessica had already gone to bed in the other room. I brought Jason a bowl of water. Here, freshen up. Jason knocked it over in annoyance, spilling it all over the bed. So eager, huh? Luke, you really are pathetic. Huh. A side piece dares talk down to me, the legal husband? But, like I said before, I just wanted to survive. The rest didn't matter. I shrugged. What, jealous? I'm willing to be the doormat? Jason said nothing. He stared out the window. It was pitch black. Who knows what he was looking at? Suddenly, Jason got out of bed, shaking off the water like nothing was wrong with him. I've never seen anyone fight for a woman like you do. You really think if you keep playing the selfless, devoted act, Jessica's gonna fall for you? Give it up already. I sighed and picked up the bowl. Dude, I'm not here to fight over her. You want her, just wait 3 years. I'll divorce her then. Jason opened his mouth to reply, but the sound of the bowl clattering had woken Jessica. She rushed in, saw the water all over the bed, and slapped me across the face without a word. Luke, are you a child? Bullying someone who's sick? How low can you get? Jason gave a smug smile and reached for Jessica's arm. Jessica, don't be like that. It was an accident. I should have caught it in time. That was my first real taste of what it meant to deal with a manipulative little weasel. I dragged the wet bedding out and mopped up the water. My mistake. Won't happen again. Jessica still hadn't cooled off. She grabbed me by the collar and dragged me into her room, arms crossed as she stared me down. I brought you to Jason's to take care of him, and now you're giving me attitude? No, you're overthinking it. Luke, you're unbelievable. That night, she threw me out. It was pouring rain. My phone and car keys were still in Jason's place. No cabs at that hour. I had no choice but to sit at the doorstep all night long. Early the next morning, Jessica opened the door, saw me, and kicked me in disgust. Said I was filthy and not to get in her car. She tossed me my phone and told me to call a cab. After a night in the rain, I was sick, feverish, dizzy. I could barely hear what Jessica was saying. I stumbled off with my phone, got home, took a hot shower, went to the hospital for a shot, and got some meds. When Jessica came home that night, she didn't even ask if I was okay. She just said flatly, "If you're not dead, go cook. Otherwise, what good are you?" Memories flooded in all at once. Before I knew it, I was at Jason's door. I rang the bell. No answer. I rang again. The door opened. Jessica stood there in a silk camisole. "Luke?" She frowned ever so slightly, her tone irritated. "What are you doing here?" "I'm here to get divorced," I smiled calmly. "What kind of stunt is this now?" "I'm not in the mood to play house with you." She went to close the door, but I blocked it with my foot and said patiently, "I'm not playing. Just sign the papers. It'll only take a minute." Jessica didn't want to deal with me. Just then, Jason appeared. Jessica, who rang the bell, he came around the corner, saw me, and turned pale. He was probably worried I'd come to steal Jessica back. Poor guy, really thought he got lucky. Little did he know I was here to hand her over, personally. "Luke, you're here for—" Jason rubbed his temples, clearly stressed and unsettled. "Is there something you want?" "Jessica's staying with me for a few days." I gave him a bright, toothy smile. "Hey there, buddy. I'm here to keep my promise." "What?" Jason looked totally lost. "You forgot? I told you before if you really liked her, I'd divorce her in 3 years. So here I am. Divorce papers in hand. If you two want to make it official, you could get your license today." "What are you even talking about?" Jessica shoved me hard. "Luke, you've been great for 3 years. Why are you acting so insane all of a sudden? Can't you just go back to how you used to be?" "Back to how I used to be? Jessica, are you kidding me? You mean the version of me that was your loyal little mutt?" I scoffed. "Talking to you is a waste of breath." Jessica snatched the divorce papers from my hands. "You really want a divorce? Fine, I'll sign. But don't come crying to me later. You can beg on your knees and I still won't pity you again." Jessica's words stung, but she was all action. She signed the papers and handed them back. I was ready to leave, grinning from ear to ear. Then Jason suddenly grabbed my hand, flashing a fake smile. "It's my birthday today. Why not stay for a meal?" Jessica was clearly shocked. I caught a flicker of displeasure on her face. I didn't need to think twice. Jason was trying to show off. But show off what? At the very least, I'd married Jessica. Him? He could pretend all he wanted, but in the end, he'd always be the guy who didn't make the cut. He thought I was hurt, thought he'd won, but I'd never even been playing the same game. They weren't even in my league. I had no interest in this drama. What mattered now was using my savings to buy a place in another city far away from all this. Time to start over. "Nah, happy birthday. You two enjoy yourselves." I pushed Jason's hand aside and walked away without a glance back. When I got home, I packed my things immediately. Didn't even take a break. I couldn't wait to leave. This miserable place, let whoever wants it keep it. As for Jessica, let someone else take care of her. I booked the earliest flight to Southern Anway. As soon as I landed, I found a real estate agent, bought a house, bought a car, hit up a bar, and a KTV living it up. That night, I got home, checked my phone. 2 missed calls from Jessica, plus 1 WeChat message. "Why aren't you answering my calls? Even if you want to throw a tantrum, there should be a limit, don't you think?" I deleted Jessica from my WeChat without a second thought, then blocked her number. I'd waited a long time for this moment. Back when I was the one doing everything at home, Jessica often didn't even come back at night. I used to call her, just to make sure she was safe. She'd respond with just 4 words. "Mind your own business." After that, I stopped asking. Where she went, who she was with, how long she'd be gone, I didn't care anymore. Just like I stopped caring about her, I deleted every bit of her information. And she didn't need to care about me either. She had no right to. After I completely cut her off, I started enjoying myself. Life's too short. I wasted 3 years on her every day after that. I was going to live to the fullest. 2 weeks later, I was heading out like usual to enjoy myself, when Jessica suddenly showed up at my door. Her cheeks were sunken, dark circles under her eyes. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept in days. She was a far cry from the stunning woman she used to be. "Do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you?" Jessica said. Her tone had softened a lot, but I could still feel the arrogance and disdain buried in her bones. Like I was supposed to stay tucked away in her house. Just one of many men she kept around. To her, me leaving was a betrayal. And the fact that she came looking for me, well, that was already a huge favor. No other man got that kind of treatment. Since I was lucky enough to be favored by her, I wasn't supposed to act out like this. I was supposed to bow my head, admit my faults, or maybe, like before, get down on my knees like some pathetic simp and beg, "I was wrong. Please forgive me." Yeah, right. Total bullshit. Miss Jessica, don't you think this is a little much? I smiled, spreading my hands, and easily stepped past her. Sorry, I've got to get together with some friends. Won't be able to host you. Feel free to show yourself out. Luke, how long are you going to keep this up? Even my patience has a limit. Miss Jessica, so does mine. I glanced at my watch. You're wasting my time. Jessica froze, stunned. Her tired eyes stared at me in disbelief. To me, she just looked pitiful, ridiculous, even. I walked around her and left without hesitation. I'd only gone a few steps when she broke down and shouted behind me. All I did was spend Jason's birthday with him, and you're seriously this petty? I chased you all the way out here to bring you home. What more do you want? Luke, you used to be such a pathetic simp. Even dogs had more dignity than you. And now you think you've got pride or something? Have you even looked at yourself in the mirror? You're just a plaything. Who the hell do you think you are, acting tough with me? She was panicking. I ignored her, as if all she'd done was fart. I heard her stomping like a lunatic behind me, her heels clicking furiously against the pavement. I never looked back. Following the address an old classmate sent me, I arrived at a traditional-style restaurant. Hey, long time no see, man. Look at you fancy now, Tony joked. I smiled and nodded politely. We hadn't seen each other in years, but once we got together, the words just started pouring out. Where's Jennifer? Tony asked suddenly. Jennifer, how could I forget that name? Yet hearing it now, it felt oddly distant. It really had been ages. Jennifer and I used to sit together in class. She was a top student, the undisputed school beauty. Back in high school, I relied on some academic foundation from middle school and spent a year or two hanging out with upperclassmen from other schools. By the second semester of junior year, after the midterms, our class rearranged seats based on grades. Jennifer, being top of the class, got first pick not just where to sit, but who to sit with. Without hesitation, she chose me. Why? She said I was dragging down the class average. She said I had no sense of class pride. She said, starting today, I'm going to tutor you. From that day on, I spent many afternoons after school solving problems with her. Over time, the flower of young affection quietly bloomed in my heart. One day during tutoring, the golden glow of the setting sun streamed through the window, casting light on her hair and cheek. Without thinking, I reached out and tucked a stray lock behind her ear. Jennifer froze. So did I. All we could hear was our quickened breathing. The air smelled faintly of gardenia. It was from her clothes. She came back to herself, looked into my eyes, and asked, "Do I look good?" She did. So good I couldn't look away. That's how simple teenage feelings were. But I was too cowardly. I didn't answer. I turned and fled. The next day, we resumed tutoring like nothing happened. We never brought it up again. The same on the third day and the fourth. By the second semester of senior year, I had clawed my way from the bottom of the class to near the top. Excited, I went to find Jennifer to share the good news, only to see the heartthrob from the next class confessing to her. Luke, Jennifer saw me. I instinctively stepped back. I didn't think I looked worse than him, and my family background was probably better. But there was one thing he had that I didn't, and it crushed me. I'd been a delinquent. Compared to someone gentle and soft-spoken like him, I figured girls would naturally like that type better. So under Jennifer's gaze, I walked away. Not long after, the rumors spread that she and the guy from class 2 were dating. I asked to change seats. Soon after, my dad sent me to study abroad. I never contacted Jennifer again. Looking back, it's been 7 years. I wonder if Jennifer and that guy from class 2 are still together, Tony said, popping a peanut in his mouth. Back then, the rumors were wild. Man, it's been 7 years. Everything's changed, another classmate said, raising his glass. I took a sip and gave a bitter smile. Just then, the private room door opened. A gentle, crisp voice rang out. Sorry I'm late, everyone. It was Jennifer. Everyone turned to look. I, however, didn't dare. Whoa, the school beauty's here. Tony chuckled. Hey, let's have her sit next to her old desk mate. With that, he made room beside me. Jennifer sat down gracefully and smiled. Luke, it's been a long time. Jennifer still looked just like I remembered. Long lashes, rosy cheeks, delicate lips. I wanted to say so much, but in the end, all that came out was, long time no see. Halfway through the meal, Tony suddenly asked if I was married. I glanced at Jennifer, stammering without a real answer. Tony pressed on, joking that I must be hiding my beautiful wife from us. I waved him off awkwardly, unsure how to reply. Just then, the door opened again. I turned instinctively and saw Jessica. And you are? Tony scratched his head. Don't think we've met. Miss, are you in the wrong room? Jessica gave Jennifer a contemptuous glance, then said, I'm here to take Luke home. Everyone was stunned. Only Jennifer seemed unsurprised, as if she had always known Jessica existed. But I could sense a subtle sadness in her expression. Luke, that's pretty shady of you, man. Keeping your wife a secret like that. We wouldn't have known if she didn't show up. Tony clapped me on the shoulder, then turned to Jessica. Hey, we're just catching up. Why don't you join us for a bit? Jessica was quiet for a moment, then walked over to Jennifer. Sorry, could I have this seat? I want to sit next to my husband. Jennifer clenched her fists, then helplessly released them. She was about to get up, but I gently held her down, keeping her firmly in place. Stay right here. Don't move, I said softly. Then I stood up, gave Jessica a polite, restrained smile. Miss, I'm currently single. You must have mistaken me for someone else. The others sat in silence, watching the drama unfold. Jessica's face turned crimson from embarrassment. Luke, don't be ridiculous. I sighed and admitted, Jessica and I are divorced. Please, stop pestering me. Let it go for your own sake. Jessica's face darkened. She glanced at Jennifer again, then suddenly looked lost and defeated. Luke, I was wrong. Come home with me. Please. I already told you we're divorced. We have nothing to do with each other anymore, I said. Jessica, if you still have any sanity left, go home. Don't make a scene, or I'll have to call the police. Jessica looked unwilling, but with her status, she managed to hold herself back from causing a public meltdown. I'll wait for you at your place, she said and left. My classmates, having overheard the exchange, quickly caught on that Jessica and I had some sort of falling out, so no one brought her up again. Aside from that brief disruption, the reunion was pleasant. After we wrapped up, I drove Jennifer home. We didn't say a single word on the way. I kept sneaking glances at her during red lights, but she didn't seem to notice. When we got to her place, I got out to open the door for her. Jennifer nodded at me. Thanks. I'm really glad I got to see you today. Me too, I said. I watched her walk to the door. Just as I was about to get back in the car, she turned around and called out to me. You and Miss Jessica. Jennifer hesitated. There's nothing between us. I'm single now, I said again. Jennifer suddenly grinned. Me too. When I got home, Jessica was squatting at my door like a drenched, stray kitten. That's when I remembered she didn't have a key. Luke! Jessica saw me and ran over happily, arms wide open. I want a hug. Don't, I said, pushing her away. If you've got something to say it now. Say it all. After that, let's not see each other again. Jessica froze. She gave a bitter laugh. So just because I missed your birthday to go to Jason's, you're punishing me like this? Don't flatter yourself, I said firmly. Jessica, not everyone's as childish as you. Then why? If you were upset I was seeing someone else, you could have just told me. I won't do it again. I'll be with you only, okay? Jessica was crying now. She frantically wiped her tears with her sleeve, clinging to my shirt hem. Luke, please forgive me. I really know I was wrong. I shook her off. For years, Jessica had always been this flirtatious, cold-blooded career woman. I'd only ever seen her cry once when she got dumped by her ex. But now, seeing her in tears again, I felt a twinge of pity. I pulled some tissues from the car and handed them to her. Wipe your tears. It's late. Go home. No, Jessica knocked the tissues out of my hand. I want you with me, every moment. Luke, it took me so long to finally marry you, even if we're divorced now. We can just get a new marriage certificate, right? Let's start over. Let's stop hurting each other and just be happy, okay? Took her so long to marry me? Please, it was effortless for her. If she'd said this back when we first got married, I might have caved. But it's been 3 years. 3 years of her sleeping around and playing games, and now she wants to forget it all and start fresh? What a joke. Jessica, there's no chance. I sincerely hope you and Jason grow old together, I said. Jessica's makeup had run all over her face. She looked just as pitiful as she did 7 years ago, the night she got dumped. Back then, she showed up at my bar in tears, drunk out of her mind. That was right after I got tied to the system. She mistook me for a gigolo, said I was the hottest one she'd ever seen, and wanted to buy me out. When we got to the room, she started undressing without a word. I hurried to help her put her clothes back on. Miss Jessica, how about we play it differently? I said. Jessica looked devastated, but still wore that flirty smirk. How do you want to play? Let me buy you. You do as I say. Jessica raised a brow. You into role play? Got costumes, props? I shook my head. None of that. Then what do you want me to do? Lean on me and cry your heart out, I said. Don't worry, I've had bad hearing and eyesight since I was a kid. Jessica laughed and then started crying. After that night, she said she wanted to date me. I knew she didn't mean it. She just wanted to spite her ex, but that worked perfectly for me. I followed the script, completed my strategy, married her, stuck it out for 3 years, and finally earned my freedom. Jessica wiped her tears in a panic, still trying to win me back. We still have a chance, don't we? You've always loved me. And I love you. Isn't that enough? Let's move away. I'll delete Jason, and you stop talking to Jennifer. Let's start over. Stop dreaming, I said. I walked into my house and locked the door behind me without a second thought. I didn't say another word to Jessica. That night, it poured again. Just like the night I was left outside Jason's place. But thank God, that won't happen again. I turned over, falling asleep to the sound of the rain. The next morning, I went outside to water the flowers, only to find Jessica lying soaked and unconscious at my doorstep. Had she stayed the whole night? Life really had a twisted sense of humor. I never imagined Jessica would end up like I once had. I bent down to wake her, but she just moaned faintly. Her forehead was burning. I reached into her purse to grab her phone, thinking I'd call Jason to come get her. When I opened it, her wallpaper was a photo of me sleeping. She'd taken it without me knowing. The phone was locked. I tried her birthday. Wrong. Jason's birthday. Wrong again. On impulse, I typed in my own birthday. Also wrong. Wake up. What's your phone password? I patted her cheek. Jessica murmured into her arm. 1,129. November 29th, our wedding day. I entered 1,129, and the phone unlocked. I found Jason's number and dialed. Jason? Jessica's sick. She won't leave my place. Come take her to the hospital. I'm sending you the location. Why should I go pick her up? Jason's voice came bluntly through the phone. I was caught off guard. Had something happened between them? Why was Jason suddenly acting like he didn't care? Don't you like Jessica? I said. This is your chance to go legit. He sighed on the other end. Fine. Send me the location. I'll head over now. I waited a long while before Jason finally showed up. I dragged Jessica to his car. Jason shot her a look of disgust. He gave a bitter smile. Luke, looks like life's been good to you. No worries about money, no shortage of women either. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. After Jason took Jessica away, Jennifer asked me out to dinner. I didn't know how to respond. My heart was pounding. I typed, deleted, typed again, back and forth for nearly a minute. Finally, I said, okay. She picked a small diner. They had great stir-fried noodles. Back in high school, after tutoring, we used to go there for late-night snacks. I couldn't believe the place was still around. After some small talk, Jennifer suddenly brought up Jessica. Did you divorce Miss Jessica out of spite? Why would you ask that? I was confused. Jennifer's eyes dimmed. She called me last night, told me not to come between you two. Said it's rare for two people to truly love each other, and if there's still something between you and her, maybe you should get back together. I frowned. Jennifer, I didn't dress up today to hear you try to patch things up between me and Jessica. What about us? I asked. Jennifer was clearly startled. Luke, what about us? I repeated. Us, Jennifer lowered her eyes. We're fated, but not meant to be. That's not true, I said, denying her words. I don't love Jessica, and you said you're single. Jennifer, can we give it a try? I don't want that fated but not meant to be crap. If you don't like me, you can leave right now. But if there's something in your heart for me, then I swallowed hard, my dry throat making my voice hoarse. I leaned down and gently kissed her ring finger. Then I'll start pursuing you. Jennifer and I got together. We went on dates, had dinners, watched movies. We did everything couples do. The 7 years we spent apart had worn down our innocence, but the people we'd become were ready to dive into this without hesitation. One evening, I took her to the night market we used to love in high school. We bought all kinds of snacks. On the way back, we ran into Jessica. She stood in front of us, looking sickly, hair a mess, clothes filthy. Wasn't Jason supposed to have taken her to the hospital? Why was she here? Where was he? You're with Jennifer now, Jessica asked. Yes, I answered honestly. Then what about me? What was I to you? Jessica, stop clinging to the past. There's nothing left between us, I said coldly. You always treated me like a toy, and I never felt anything for you. Let go. Don't humiliate yourself anymore. Jessica suddenly choked up. You really don't like me anymore? Then what were the last 3 years? What were... A joke. A massive joke. You still have a fever. Where's Jason? Let him take you home and get some rest. I tried to reason with her. Jason? Jessica suddenly laughed. You left me. Jason left me. I'm nothing but trash that nobody wants. I frowned. I'll call someone to come pick you up. I don't want that. Jessica looked at Jennifer beside me. You're really something. I schemed for so long, and you still won. Jessica stumbled a few steps toward me. Luke, I regret everything. She clutched the necklace I once gave her, stepping closer with each word. Luke, did you ever love me? I held Jennifer's hand. Sorry. Never. So the system was real. Jessica muttered to herself. I pushed you away. I did this. It was all my fault. She looked like a broken bird, desperate for shelter, but I wasn't the one to give it to her. Luke, can I hug you? Just 1 second, please. Reflexively, I wrapped my arm around Jennifer's waist. Sorry, I have a girlfriend. Jessica wasn't surprised. She nodded in defeat and staggered away. After that, I never saw Jessica again. Never heard anything about her either, until one day while at a business dinner with executives from other corporations, I overheard some gossip. Apparently, Miller Corp went bankrupt and was acquired. As for the former CEO of Miller Corp, no one knew where she'd gone. Some said she ran off with a gigolo. Others claimed she drank herself into cancer and was now in treatment. Still others said she sold her house and moved to the countryside to run a small business. The rumors varied. I just chuckled. Jessica's end was a little tragic. If she ever came to me for help, I might offer something. But then again, if we never see each other again, no mess, no pain, that'd be best. In our 3rd year of dating, Jennifer and I got married. She often lay in my arms and teased, You really never liked Jessica? I'd shake my head. Never. This time she asked something more. Then why did you marry her? That's a long story, I said, stroking her forehead. Want to hear it? She nodded. And so, one lazy afternoon, lying together in the hammock on our balcony, we basked in the sunlight and talked about the strange story of the system. We talked for hours, until the sun slowly dipped below the horizon. The golden light lit up Jennifer's hair, shimmered in her eyes. She said, "Luke, let's have a baby." Side story, Jessica's POV. I spotted a ridiculously handsome gigolo at a bar. He was nothing like the others, refined, well-spoken. I immediately said I wanted to buy him out. He smiled gently, didn't refuse. But when we got a room and I started undressing, he stopped me. He dressed me again and said, "If you want to cry, just cry." He really was different from the rest. He could tell right away I'd just been dumped. I cried in his arms for what felt like forever. I hadn't planned to cry, it was just a man, after all. And there are plenty more, but his embrace was too warm. I couldn't help it. I asked him to date me, even though I didn't even know his name. Funny thing was, we were strangers, yet he said yes. After spending a day together, I finally learned his name, Luke. He treated me so well it didn't feel real. I wanted to be good to him too, but only just wanted to. I never really thought about a future with him. Every time he held me and talked about our life after marriage, I felt a little repulsed. I admit, when I asked to be with him, it was impulsive. But who wouldn't be, faced with someone that attractive? When Luke started getting too affectionate, I grew uneasy. I was afraid he might suddenly propose to me one day, so I slowly pulled away from him. I returned to my old lifestyle, reckless, indulgent, hopping from man to man for pleasure. I thought that would make him back off on his own. But to my surprise, he accepted everything, including my flirtations and infidelity. Over time, I realized being with him wasn't so bad. The wildflowers outside were just distractions. Coming home and being wrapped in Luke's love, that was the sweetest feeling. I realized I didn't mind him anymore. In fact, even if he proposed to me, I'd say yes. And unexpectedly, he actually did. Of course, I agreed. On our wedding day, one of my boy toys came crying, begging me not to leave him. But I knew exactly what he wanted my money. He was afraid if I got married and stopped seeing other men, he'd lose his cash flow. I wanted to have him thrown out, but Luke stopped me. He said, "Take your time. Talk it out. I'll wait." He was so calm, like it didn't matter who I was with. But I didn't want that kind of tolerance. Why couldn't he just get jealous for once? The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Out of spite, I kept that boy toy around and slept with him in our marital bed. Luke didn't even get mad. He gently woke me up and made congee. He even made an extra serving for the boy toy. I was furious. Didn't he get jealous? Did he even care about me at all? I couldn't bear to be close to him anymore. I was afraid I'd fall too deep. So I went to Jason. Jason was my childhood friend. I was a few years older than him. We'd known each other forever. I knew he liked me, so I took all the love I had for Luke and redirected it toward Jason. Jason was timid and shy, but he got jealous. I felt loved, and that satisfied me. Besides that, I still sought comfort in other boy toys, because deep down I felt empty. Maybe only one person could ever fill that void. Unfortunately, that person didn't care about me. The more time I spent with Jason, the less I felt I needed Luke. Honestly, Jason and Luke were kinda similar. Maybe I'd be happier with Jason. But then one day, a woman appeared, and I realized a substitute is still just a substitute. Her name was Jennifer. She was Luke's high school desk mate. I had looked into her, learned a bit about their past. Rumor had it she drifted away from Luke after a popular boy confessed to her. But from what I found, she rejected that confession. I didn't know if Luke was aware of that, but since she had once been the closest person to him, I felt an overwhelming sense of threat the moment she appeared. I asked her out and warned her to stay away from Luke. Luke and I are married. We love each other deeply. I hope you won't be so shameless as to interfere. Otherwise, deal with the consequences. I told her. Jennifer lowered her eyes. If you truly love each other, then I wish you a lifetime of happiness, a big family and all. Don't worry. I only wanted to reconnect when I heard Luke was back in the country. But since you've made yourself clear, I won't show up again. You better not. After that, Jennifer really did disappear. I kept seeing other boy toys and dropping in on Jason every few days. I just wanted to make Luke jealous, but I miscalculated. What I got instead was Luke saying, "Let's get divorced." Of course I refused, but I couldn't bring myself to beg him. So I yelled, fought, and circled around, hoping maybe there was still a chance. But clearly, I was wrong. Luke still left. I was devastated. I ran to Jason for comfort. Jason told me this was bound to happen sooner or later. I asked him why. He said Luke had been bound to a system, and the task was to woo me and stay married for 3 years. Only then would he be free otherwise. He'd die. I didn't believe it. It sounded absurd. I asked how he knew. He said he was also bound to a system. I asked what his task was. He said it was to come between me and Luke once we divorced. He'd be free. So both the men closest to me had approached me with an agenda. What a joke. I slept around to make Luke jealous, went to Jason for comfort, but in the end, I was nothing but a clown in their eyes. I broke things off with Jason. He said he'd taken care of me for years, and even if he wasn't successful, he at least worked hard. He asked me for some kind of compensation. I said, "Screw you. What, you think I'm some kind of fool you can just milk for cash? That money either belongs to me and Luke as a couple or to me alone." After a huge fight with Jason, I went looking for Luke. I crashed his class reunion. I even waited outside his building all night. I thought if I degraded myself enough, he'd pity me and come back. But that wasn't what happened. Even when I had a high fever, he just called Jason to take me away. He really didn't care anymore. I watched Luke and Jennifer reconcile, watched their relationship grow stronger, and there was nothing I could do. One last time, I wanted to take a gamble. I made myself look miserable, found Luke, hoping for his sympathy. I told him I just wanted a hug, but he didn't even grant me that. He wrapped his arm around Jennifer's waist and told me he had a girlfriend. That's when I finally understood. I had lost Luke forever.